Hello, everyone on the internet. I wish I could see your pictures. Do you see them? A little bit. Little.
I can go to gallery view and bring them.
No. I will endure. So we've had some technological problems trying to get the Wi-Fi going, so please be patient with us. We're doing our best.
We're hopeful.
We are hopeful, ever hopeful. I found a nice piece on silence. Fun to read. Permanent Astonishment, a memoir, Thompson Highway. Thompson Highway is best known for the plays The Red Sisters and Dry Lips Ought to Move to Kapuskasing, as well as the best-selling novel Kiss of the Fur Queen. He divides his year between Gatineau, Quebec, and Naples, Italy. So this takes place in northern Manitoba on the edge of Nunavut and the boundary of Saskatchewan. The part of travel by dog sled that is most striking is its silence. The vastness of the land demands it. Immense, a sigh that yawns, the swelling of a lung divine in nature. It helps, of course, that the sled is engineless. The cacophony of cars, thus non-existent, the hum of power lines, the blare of radios, television or gramophones, the babble of voices human or otherwise, none of this is there to distract it. And if the cawing of a crow, the squeaking of the sled on crisp new snow, or Dad's mellifluous baritone exhorting his dogs left, right, or forward do break that silence, if rarely, then the blanket of snow that coats that landscape muffles such events, renders them sibilant, irrelevant. So what that silence ends up doing after an hour of nonstop gliding through virgin snow is paralyzing its listeners with a music beyond experience. And the visuals that go with that music confirm that trance. Isn't that lovely? So we're trying to do it. We didn't bring our dog sleds. So. But, isn't it, what is it? Like Jane, so Jane was sitting by the river and silence is, it's an entry into something, isn't it? But you can't do that by annihilating thought. You have to understand thought. So this question here, when I found myself lost in thought, when I ask who is thinking, I absolutely cannot find a thinker. There's only silence. But merely a few seconds later, I could be lost in thought again. At that moment, in those moments, the thoughts feel powerful. Why is it that when I turn backwards to the thinker, thoughts don't seem to have any power, but become powerful the next moment? Anyone relate to that? I mean, it is as it is. You could say that, but I would say it's the habits of habituated identity, the power of habit of attachment. Yeah, I guess it's the habits of habitual identity. That's good. I like that when something like that pops up. But habit is very important to understand, isn't it? So it's not really, habit isn't anyone's fault. I don't like if my mind is really worried about my grandchildren or my health or something, it's not that I'm deliberately worrying. It's just what the mind actually kind of turns to. So what we're doing in this very safe and tranquil environment is trying to identify more, if we could use that word, with awareness itself, the knowing. And once we start to do that, we get little inklings that in fact, this powerful sense of me as an ego kind of person is actually simply a very powerful phenomenon that arises and ceases. And we get glimpses of the gap between that. And those glimpses are pretty, there's a frustration, isn't there? You kind of see the gap. Well, why can't it just stay with the gap? And then there's rebirth again. So one has to just stay the course and realize that the sense of the background or being the knowing, as Lampassaneri would say, or like, what was the last line we were using as we left in Newfoundland? This open unknowingness is what I am, not an object that I can know. Oh, I like that. That's kind of, and if you're taking on board this idea of background and foreground and so on, then like the statement is what I am. It's not an ego statement, you know. It's not that like I'm great or I'm not great or whatever like that. It's just a way of using language to take a different perspective on the usual perspective of identity with thoughts and feelings and so on and so forth. So the teaching around anicca dukkha anatta or dependent origination, all those things are really just getting us to the witnessing and the knowing of change. So there's many ways to sort of encourage that. And so hopefully what I've been doing encourages that. You'll have your own ways, I think. I can probably have your own insights around that. It's important to honor those kinds of insights. Some people do it through art, different ways. One of the ways is this a way of looking at the body. So in Buddhism, body awareness is very, very important, partially because our life is embodied in that way. So obviously it's important to be aware of the body, but not just as a health concern, because the body also is an energy body, and understanding the energy bodies, the emotions that surge through us, is very important to be really free within an embodied experience. There's that. But also our identity, part of our identity is so strong with the body, I am the body, that to engage in practices where the body is known but the background is emphasized is very, very helpful. And so when you look at body awareness practices in Theravada, I perceive them as happening in kind of two ways. One way is focus on sensations, which is a kind of laser-like focus, one sensation. But the other way is to see the body in awareness, as a formation in awareness, and that's maybe not so common. So that's the way I like to do. Let's say I do a lot of yoga nidra, and for those of everyone, I've talked about that a million times. Everyone knows lying practice. If you don't, just leave me a note. I don't want to bore people and then I'll explain it. But so I do a lot of lying practice, and which is one of the best things I've developed in my own meditation practice. But it's very easy actually to witness the body as an object in awareness, because there's no need to hold it up. The mattress is doing it. And that reference then is quite powerful, because the body contains so much of the emotional material that we have to experience, physical pain, all kinds of things grab our attention. So I thought we'd do a body meditation, and what I'll do is I'll go back to this idea of sound and body. So you keep trying to get this idea of awareness as spacious consciousness, or space as consciousness, or whatever way you want to imagine that. And then see the body as something arising and ceasing in that space of knowing. And where we really get attached is in our eyes and in our brain. We feel that somehow intuitively we're sort of living behind the eyeballs. That's our real home. And yet your eyeballs are in awareness. You can know eyeballs as an object. You can know tension of the brain as an object. And that, I think, is a kind of interesting exercise, because you begin, if you pursue it, you see the body as an entity in awareness, and that strengthens the background. That's the background. That's the idea of it. The other way, where you focus and you keep focused and you keep focused and you keep focused, that's a way of staying focused. Okay, you can do that. I don't do that way. I do it this way. The other has, I suppose, it's usefulness. You have to determine that yourself, but that's also common in certain kind of Theravada circles. So when you like go back to that idea of focus and open, I was looking at the trees. I'm in the 3rd floor. I've been in the same room for must be 20 years. I love that room. It's en suite. I'm getting old. I like those things. And so I know the walnut trees, and I know the oak, and there's a huge oak, which is just its crown is above the walnut trees. There's a lot of walnut trees there. And then the crown, I was looking at the crown, and I thought, wow, that crown must be 100 foot in width. So then I'm calculating, right? So I'm looking, I'm seeing, and I'm calculating. Oh, yeah, that is the oak. Yeah. So that's the calculating. That's very much in the head. That's a kind of tension. Not bad. Nothing wrong with it. I need to use that. And then I let go of that calculating mind and the analysis mind to what it is, not even calling it an oak tree, and just let the moment be there in a sense of open awareness. And then the mind relaxes. Not that tension is coming from craving or anything. It's just, focus. So I think that exercise is important. They're very helpful. Very important, pain. Because when you have pain, then of course the focus is on the pain. And you need to do something about it. But having done everything you can about it, then if that's the only way you can relate to the body as a focus, then it's dreadful. But you can relate this other way. And if you learn that in a non-painful situation, you have the insight and the capacity and the power of awareness. So going back to this person's statement, the more we emphasize our real home is knowing the way things are, the more that has power, and the less the delusions of self have power, the delusions of thought. And I think we all find that as we practice, as we just do this kind of slow marathon work, some things, they come up, but they don't delude us anymore. And that's wonderful. Some whinging state of mind, or complaining, or some self-doubt, or some self-disparagement. And then, oh, hey, I haven't seen you for a while. How you been? It's great. It still comes up because that's, it's just a habit and memory of mind. And it's a wonderful feeling, isn't it? And it's a freedom within the arising of those situations. So the power of those habits dissipates if we empower something else, and we're empowering awareness itself in these exercises. So you have to go back to trust again, I think. What do you really trust in? Fixing it, organizing it? Well, if I'm weaving a rug right now. So in weaving the rug, I have to have a lot of calculations. Do I have enough yarn? What are those color combinations? So yeah, I need to use the calculating mind. I'm not dismissing it. But if that's the only thing I know how to do, then I miss this tremendous silence of the sled going through the snow. I miss that because that's there too. That's there too. So to be able to do both well. So if you took this, I hope I'm not overworking this background foreground analogy. If you took it in an Islamic way, then it would be trust in Allah and tie your camel. If you took it in a English Christian way, it would be trust in God, but keep your powder dry. If you took it in a Buddhist way, from Venerable Piyadasi, it would be trust in Dhamma and leave the rest to Kamma. I like the Buddhist way. But you see, like I do like the Islamic way, trust in Allah and tie your camel. Don't just trust in Allah. You gotta do that. I hope that maybe that doesn't work so well. Trust in Dhamma. So as you practice and you sense the silence of the mind, look at the need to always do something, fix something, analyze something, sort it out, have a strategy, have an answer, have a conclusion. That's a very restless kind of mind. So as you become more proficient in your meditation, you do get a sense of the tiresomeness of the doer. It just becomes so tiresome. So, oh God, this guy again. I think all of us ago, when we started, we did all the techniques, did A, B, and C. We did all those. So why did we tire of those? Maybe they were kind of useful, but there's something about the very me doing something to achieve something that misses the background. And it can seem successful for a while, but then why didn't we stay with it? Why didn't we stay with it? Because I think we intuit that the very sense of the doer, caught in time, going somewhere, becoming something, that itself can be known as an object. So awakeness isn't a doing, it's a being, isn't it? Being aware, kind of thing. So let's do some of that body meditation. I'll just transfer myself over there. Right, Gio, we'll sit for 45 minutes. Here's that lovely sound. So establishing presence by listening. And emphasizing the listening rather than the quality of sound. So let the sounds come to you. Receptive, non-becoming, non-resistance. Very simple. And sense the silence of knowing. Perceive sound as in awareness. So whether it's distant or near, whether we hear someone in the kitchen, which is a distant sound, or the motor, which is near, both distance and near are perceptions in awareness. The sound changes. Does awareness change? Does the knowing change? Bring attention to the body. Feel the body. So now we're going to pay attention to the body as feeling rather than thought. So if I say the head, it's the actual physical sensations of the head, not. So bring attention to your mouth. And the lips, the sensations in the lips. The teeth. The tongue. Upper and lower palate. Inside the cheeks. The whole mouth has a mass of sensations. And they're in awareness. So the space of awareness knows this localized attention. Now, if you're focusing real hard, then you'll probably feel tense in the temples. So it's very open. Mouth feels this way. And it's the same open awareness. Bring attention to your nose. Feel the nose. The bridge of the nose. The nostrils. The whole mass of sensations in awareness. Feel the eyes. The orbits of the eyes themselves, the bony parts. Allow that to become conscious. Quite often a lot of tension in the eyes. So you're the witness now. You're sitting back and allowing things to be conscious. The eyes themselves. And they're in awareness. Relax the eyes. Imagine they're just able to drop out of your head. Just relax the eyes. So you're not trying to see something in this meditation, to see a body part or something like that. And this is in awareness. Feel the temples. Feel tension, vibration of the temples. This is in awareness. And now listen to sound. And the sound is in awareness. No different. Sound stops. Awareness doesn't change. Feel the temples. Feel the top of the head. Feel the back of the head. Sensations back of the neck. In awareness. Feel the sides of the neck. Feel the throat. Now feel the whole head and neck. Object in awareness. Again, these aren't concepts, they're the direct experience of what those physical parts are. Feel the shoulders. Feel the right shoulder, right upper arm, right elbow, right forearm, right wrist, right hand. Feel that whole area. Add sensation, vibration, heat, energy. So before you think about it, what's it like? In awareness. Feel the right shoulder. The right upper arm. Right elbow. Forearm. Wrist and hand. Feel both arms. In awareness. Feel the outer area of the chest. Feel the skin, clothing on the skin, on the chest. The upper back. Inside that area, the upper spine. Notice how when that sound comes in, the foreground changes. The background of awareness is unchanging. Feel the abdominal area, so the lower back, the lower spine, stomach, intestines, liver, kidneys, all that area inside the belly. Let it just be conscious. Now the pelvic area, the pelvic bones, the reproductive organs, that whole area in awareness. The hips. Feel the left hip, and the thigh, the left thigh, the left knee, the left lower leg, the left ankle, and the left foot. Feel that whole area as one mass of sensation. And notice if you're trying to concentrate and exclude other things, then the sound of the church bells or this motor behind me, that's intrusive. But if you're practicing refuge and awareness, then it doesn't really matter. It's just objects arising and ceasing in awareness. Feel the whole left leg. Feel the right hip and then the right thigh, the right knee, the lower leg, right side, the right ankle and the right foot, the whole right leg as sensation, as pressure, as heat. Now feel the whole body, step back as it were. Feel the whole body as a mass of vibrations and sensations without the definition of body. So it's like this. And as you sit in that kind of open awareness, notice how very quickly something comes up where you need to do something. And then try to go back to this open, receptive awareness, knowing body as body. And then, of course, let go of the localization of body. Listen to sound. And let go of all localizations. Just be aware. It's like this. So silent, receptive knowing. And of course, the power of habit will eventually overtake you. That's normal. Sort of fill up your bandwidth. Then you can just pick up one aspect of body, like breathing. But the main thing is staying with that, making awareness the important thing rather than the object. So you take one breath, open, still knowing, one breath in, one breath out, that kind of thing. And you just keep returning with trust to this, knowing the way things are. All right, it's quite a lot of instruction. I'll leave you to play with that. Second. This open unknowingness is what I am, not an object to be known. Read it, see how it is. So when I say that I, then I'm reminded of that. Sorry. So again, it's a nice one to play with. This open unknowingness is what I am, not an object to be known. So when I state I, then that's what I not. That's what I intuitively go to say, that kind of thing. Unknowingness is a strange word, isn't it? Well, obviously it's pointing to, it's not like a conclusion, a statement of this or that. Anyway, play around and see if it works. So we'll be back at lunch again.